Last time we are looking at this particular sentence about the original sin and the last sin. Although the phrase original sin is essentially a Christian phrase belonging to most of the, in fact, it belongs to most of the Abrahamic religions. But made more prominent in the Catholic theology, the original sin. But what we have here is not what is connotated by the Christian theology as far as the original sin is concerned. And I don't think, at least I am not aware of it, if the Christian theology has anything like the last sin. Do they have?
No, I didn't understand. Only the first.
Do they have?
What do you mean?
Original sin is well known in the Catholic theology. But I don't think there is anything like the last sin. LAST, last sin. At least I have not heard of. No. Yeah. Now, which also means that what is connotated here by sin does not really belong to the idea of Christian theology. Although the phrase original sin is a Catholic phrase, but it does not convey here the sense which the Catholics attach to the phrase original sin. And that is further supported by the fact that there is nothing like the last sin in the Christian theology. So, what is the difference between the original sin about which we are here in the sentence and the original sin of the theology? In fact, the idea, the notion of sin does not exist at all anywhere in the ancient Indian spirituality. Though to some extent we have later derivations of that type in the Puranas. Puranas will say papa, that is sin. But the Upanishads, they never speak of sin or papa. Vedas, they never speak of sin or papa. Later, the Puranic tradition has introduced the idea of papa and punya, means good and bad aspects of life. Papa and punya. Now, it also means that the Puranic idea of the papa or sin is not really that deep enough, that original enough, nor of the Christian theology. See, basically we say that the cause of the fall of Adam was his disobedience to the order of the divine, of God. Don't eat the fruit of that tree. And he did it. And that became the original sin. And that sin brought death into picture. Until then there was no death. Adam was an immortal. He was driven to the mortal world. Paradise lost. See? So the notion of sin in the theology is that it brings out the aspect of death, how death appears in life. See? But the very fact that he was told, as the story goes, not to eat the fruit of a particular tree, it means that a possibility was seen that he will eat it. You see, he will eat it. So when both the possibilities were present, prohibiting him not to eat the fruit is taking away his freedom, the choice he would make. Now, that loss of freedom is something which does not make us very happy about it, you see. That we are not allowed to do what we should do, you see. Let us bear the consequences, how does it matter? But let us do what we want to do. That is the spirit of growth, you see. But because it is a story, we can say that don't eat the fruit of that tree was intended that it should be eaten. Yes. It amounts to that. It should be eaten. Yeah. It amounts. He had to commit the sin. And it is because of the commitment of sin that he has to grow further. He can grow further, you see. See, the whole point was, after eating the fruit of knowledge, he would have eaten the fruit of life. And he would have become immortal without any progress at all. That thing was not a very desirable thing, not to make progress. And therefore, fall is a necessity. Eating the fruit is a necessity. By the fall, a god becomes greater, as we have got a line in Savitri. By the fall, a god becomes greater. So this is a fall which will make one greater. So that is a particular stage in the course of evolution-involution. And therefore, it is because it is a particular stage, therefore, it is not original enough. That sin of eating the fruit is not original enough. In other words, the Christian theology has no notion really of what the original sin is. Here in Savitri, as we have got in this particular sentence, her deep original sin, in the immediate context, Savitri has entered into the realm of death. She is walking in the footsteps of death and the footsteps of her husband rather. And that is according to the phrase is her original sin. She is walking into the forbidden regions, forbidden realm, where she should not. Not only walking, because her walking means she is going to assert herself, I want to be. Death has no business to be here. This realm has no business to be there, to exist at all. And that is the sin she is committing as seen by death. She is walking into my realm, which she is not supposed to do, therefore she is doing a wrong thing. That is the sin she is making here. Now, this is the context as far as the storyline is concerned, the narrative is concerned. But behind the narrative, it is not that Satyavan has died and Yama is carrying the spirit of Satyavan and Savitri is following them and all that. That is not what is being conveyed here by the deep original sin. It is at a much deeper level than that. The deeper level is the divine goddess, the supreme Mahashakti. She herself has entered into the realm of death to abolish death, to remove death. Ashwapati prays to the divine goddess and compels her to take the mortal birth. Compels her to take the mortal birth. That is what we have got in Book 3, Canto 4, The Vision and the Boon. You have to take mortal birth if you want to solve the problem of this creation. And her agreeing to take the mortal birth is her first sin, original sin. That is her first original sin.
The goddess cannot make a sin.
Huh?
The god cannot make a sin. She is a goddess.
It's not by there you can do things. You have to come down and do things here.
Yeah, but by coming down,
Only you can do these things.
it's a sin.
That is the sin.
There is the sin.
Yeah.
But for the goddess,
Because it is only by her mortal birth that she can meet death and conquer death. It is not that by blowing your mouth, go away. It's not going to go away like that. You see, it is an outer fact, it is a reality here in the creation, and it is only by coming down here she can deal with him directly. So that is the compulsion for her coming. So there are two things in that. She is compelled to take the mortal birth. At the same time, she accepts to take the mortal birth. She may be compelled. That does not necessarily mean that she would accept. But she accepts to take the mortal birth. So the immortal stepping into the mortal world is the original sin.
I thought that it's the human being who is accused to make a sin, not a goddess who came to take birth on earth. I mean, the human being who.
In the case of the human being also, you are merely living there in the transcendent. It was your choice. You came into this mortal world out of curiosity to see what is there in the shadow of truth. So that is your curiosity. So you took the birth. You have committed the sin. Yes. Yes.
Not the goddess.
No. And now you are suffering You have to pay the price for that. One of the sufferings is attend Savitri classes on Saturday afternoon.
Our punishment.
See? Yeah. So, no, so that is the original sin. The Divine Mother, Divine Goddess, the immortal, is accepting to take the mortal birth to deal with death in this creation. That is what we got in that little book, the mother. She condescended to pass through the portals of the birth, that is a death. She condescended to pass through the doors of the death, birth, that is a death. That is her commitment. She has committed the sin. So it is therefore more applicable to Savitri. Yeah. Why she accepts to take the mortal birth? Because by accepting the mortal birth, she will do this, that, and finally there will be the immortal life and divine. That is the last sin she is committing. In this inconscient creation, you want to bring down immortal and divine life. That is your assertion, that is your affirmation. And that is the last sin. Now, this part, the last sin, does not exist at all anywhere in any spiritual literature, in any theology. Last sin. Not even the Puranas. Puranas talk of Papa and Punya, good and bad and all that kind of a thing, but never talk of the possibility of a divine life in the world here, in the mortal world.
How is the spiritual pride, the sin last, greatest, the spiritual pride, how does this relate to the last sin, the spiritual pride?
You see, I mean,
But I don't understand how.
You see, the last sin, all right, I grant that you have committed the deep original sin. You are here. Then what do? What people have been doing all along, the spiritual people, for that, they will ascend to the higher worlds. They will become immortal. That is the Vedic tradition. Rishis, they did yoga, tapasya and all that and attained immortality. Where? Up there. Bhakta, he will go and merge himself into the adored. You will identify yourself with Christ or with Maria or who should call it, and merge with him. That is how the original sin is absorbed most of the time. But it does not talk at all that immortality should come and reside here in me, in my body, in my physical, in my entire being. Nobody talks of that. And that is the thing which Savitri is attempting. Yeah. So these two phrases are very unique phrases. In fact, one can keep on talking about them. See.
The spiritual pride, what is this? This is the spiritual pride.
Right? Yeah, you want that it can be here. That is your pride, your assertion, your affirmation. You don't accept this thing. You don't accept this as it is. Mortal is mortal. You see? He says, scorn of the worm, writhing in the mud, condemned, ephemeral. You disdain that. No, it cannot be. You want here, instead of that, immortal and divine. Claim to be living fire of God. You want to be living fire of God. That is your claim. That is the sin, last sin Savitri is committing. So this whole sentence actually summarizes the entire spiritual philosophy of Sri Aurobindo. The Christian original sin, just for a minute, we'll talk for a minute more about this one. What the Catholic theology speaks of the original sin. Adam fell to the temptation and ate the fruit of knowledge, which was offered to him by his spouse Eve, because she had eaten. He didn't say, go to hell, I had nothing to do with it. I will obey God. He doesn't say that. But out of excess of love, as Milton says, out of excess of love for his wife, he eats the fruit. And then they are driven out of paradise, of Eden.
It's your explanation. It's your explanation.
No, yeah, well.
I never heard that he did it because of his love.
No, it is there in the paradise. It's not mine. It's not mine. It is Paradise Lost is based on that.
It's not
Milton's Paradise Lost is based on that.
on what? On his love?
Yeah.
For it?
Yes.
I never heard like this.
Yeah.
I
Excess.
heard
He speak. The phrase is exactly from Milton. Excess of love.
that the man is also very wicked. And
Yeah.
he accepts also
He could not.
taste this
He could not allow her to go to hell, and I will remain here. See, but excess of love, he also ate. You see. So don't have excess of love for anybody. You see. Actually, although it is a storyline, but there is a secondary layer of truth in it. It is in a certain stage of evolution, the Purusha remains back and allows Prakriti to do whatever she wants to do, and he obeys her. That is the Sankhya philosophy. Purusha remains static. He is Anumanta, he gives sanction and all that, but he remains back. And it is Prakriti who will do it. So actually it is Prakriti who wanted to eat the fruit of knowledge because she wants to make progress. She wants to make progress. And therefore Purusha agrees to that. See? All right, I will also suffer with you if it is necessary. If the progress is there through suffering, let us accept suffering. And then that suffering, to pay the price for that suffering, the divine Redeemer comes here, Christ, in the theology. To remove the sin of man, he takes the mortal birth. So, but that is not original enough, I am saying. This is a part of the evolutionary process. Evolution has advanced to a certain stage. If it wants to go further, then you have to eat the fruit of knowledge, which would mean fall. So what? and go ahead, you see. You see. The claim to be a living fire of God, the will to be immortal and divine. The will to be. The will to be. That is the Nietzsche's phrase, the German philosopher. The will to be. And he sees everything in the context of evil and good. He sees everything in the context of the will to be. So here, the will to be is to really gain greater, higher freedom, to make progress. So in that sense, to some extent, Nietzsche did catch hold of the truth of the whole process. In that tremendous darkness, heavy and bare, she atoned for all sin. The first act when sprang the error of the consciousness of time. First act, she atoned. So it is not what she is doing in the evolutionary process, but the divine goddess was compelled to take the mortal birth. She accepts to take the mortal birth. For what? To atone the act of error of consciousness of time. The four powers are separated away from the divine source. And to atone that, the error which is committed because of that, it is she then who comes here as mortal birth. So it is simultaneously both metaphysically at the level of the separation, the problem of creation, and in the narrative, Savitri entering into the kingdom of death. The error of consciousness of time, the rending of the inconscient seal of sleep. So that is what we have got. We are bound by inconscience all along. To remove that seal of inconscience, she has come here for that purpose. So her original sin is actually this consciousness, the divine consciousness has entered into the inconscience. That is the first sin. The primal and unpardoned revolt that broke the peace and silence of the nothingness. See, until now nothingness was happy. But when the divine consciousness enters into the inconscience, it gets disturbed, it gets perturbed. Then there is a kind of stirring action, things start moving. Until then it was absolutely dead, quiet, silent all along. The peace and silence of the nothingness, which was before a seeming universe, appeared in a vanity of imagined space, and life arose, engendering grief and pain. So when that consciousness entered the inconscience, when she has committed the original sin, then came life. Life, of course, full of happiness and full of pain, because it is now in the inconscience. Grief and pain. A great negation was the real surface, prohibiting the vain process of time. So that negation will not allow time to move forward, to march forward, you see. And when there is no world, no creature more, when time's intrusion has been blotted out, it shall last. That nothingness, that inconscience. it shall last. That's it. Unbodied, saved from thought, at peace. So there is full of metaphysics here already. In fact, the whole life divine is compressed in a few sentences, you see. Yeah. Accursed in what had been her Godhead source. See, now he is telling directly, it is not this human Savitri who is walking behind death and the spirit of her husband. It is the Godhead source, the divine goddess, who is accursed to take these things. Condemned to live forever empty of bliss. Condemned to live forever empty of bliss. Her immortality, her chastisement, her spirit guilty of being wandered doomed, going forever through eternal night. So she is forever through eternal night. It is not through this particular narrative passage. You see, Savitri is going behind these people, behind death and the spirit of Satyavan. She is of course wandering, but this is something on the occult level. Right from the beginning, she has taken the mortal birth and she is wandering constantly. Her spirit guilty of being. So that is the price she is paying for taking the mortal birth. So she is compelled to take the mortal birth and she accepts it, and in that acceptance she is undergoing this suffering, this pain, this misery, moving forever through eternal night. Had she not moved through eternal night, night would not have been saved. Night would have remained night. So you have to read Savitri at both the levels simultaneously, as a narrative and as a spiritual history. It is simultaneously a legend and a symbol. The legend is Savitri is following death and the spirit of Satyavan through the realms of night. The symbol is, it is at the higher level of the creation's process of bringing out the divine life upon earth that she is undergoing through this whole thing. So it is simultaneously a legend and a symbol. So you can't separate them. You have to read both of them simultaneously, as a story as well as a description of the spiritual process. But Maya is a veil of the absolute. A truth occult has made this mighty world. The eternal wisdom and self-knowledge act in ignorant mind and in body's steps. But Maya, so it looks like an illusion, a fiction, a creation of mind. But what is that? It is ultimately the veil of the Absolute. The Absolute himself has drawn that veil. Savitri has stepped into this creation Before that, she was fully aware of everything. But now, because she has stepped into this creation, there is a kind of veil to shut her off from the Absolute. From the Absolute. And that is a purposeful veil. It is a veil with a meaning. Because if you don't remove your contact with the Absolute that way, then you will not be able to see what is the reality here and try to bring it up properly. That is a Maya. That is the play, so to say, of the whole thing. That is also a kind of an illusion. And therefore he says, the inconscient is the superconscious sleep. It is not different from superconscious. It is the same thing. But superconscious, which has kept its awareness away from itself. It wants to be unaware of itself. And that is inconscience. That is why it is sleep. So the whole thing is actually we should do a life divine. An unintelligible intelligence. So we don't understand the logic of the super logician. Why all that thing? Invents creation's paradox. He has done all that thing for a purpose. Spiritual thought is crammed in matter's forms. Yes, matter is full of the spirituality. The spirit is present there. If you are not aware of it, it does not mean that it is not there. It is your fault that you are not aware of it, but it is there. The spirit is there, you see. Profound. Spiritual thought is crammed, is packed fully, you see. Matter is abused, matter is cursed, matter is condemned in every way. But people don't understand. We don't understand. Our intelligence does not understand that after all, matter is also the creation of the Spirit, of the Supreme Spirit. So it cannot be but that. It is not that at the moment, because there is the veil of the Absolute. He has purposely put that veil on. Spiritual thought is crammed in matter's form. Unseen, it throws out a dumb energy and works a miracle by a machine. All here is a mystery of contraries, day and night, good and evil, sin and virtue, darkness and light. All these are contraries, heat and cold. All that is a mystery. But actually, if you take even the simple physical fact of day and night, they are of course opposite. But ultimately they belong to the same one single reality. The earth rotating around her axis in the presence of the sun, creating day and night. They belong to the same reality. There is really nothing dark and nothing bright. They belong to the same reality actually. Darkness, a magic of self-hidden light. Yeah, there you are, you see. So now our American friends are sleeping merrily in the night. You see. Suffering some secret, rapturous, tragic mal, and death an instrument of perpetual life. Death an instrument of perpetual life. That is the entire meaning, entire positive role of death. A flower blooms in the morning, it fades in the evening, next morning a flower comes. It is by death the perpetuity of the flower is maintained. So the perpetuity of flower is its immortality. Flower is always there. Flowers come and go, but flower is always there. So the flower is immortal. The perpetuity of the flower is carried forward constantly by death. Men die that man may live. It goes on like that. So, in the presence of death, there is a inbuilt perpetuity of life. In fact, death is the promoter of life. Death is a promoter of life. Without death, life would not have been able to make progress. It is death which helps life to progress. It's a fact. See, what I am now, if I am going to remain forever like this, where is the progress? Where is the progress? In order to make progress, I must die, take new birth, and make. So keep on building up brick above brick, your house, your mansion, or whatever you call it, your palace, you see, and make progress, you see. That is how the psychic being grows. It draws from the universal, the vital, the mental, the physical, assimilates whatever is there in a given life, assimilates that becomes its store, that becomes its punya, and then dies, takes another birth, builds up again. So that is how we constantly grow. So death is in fact the promoter of life. See, here only in this book, we'll see later on also. Life without death could not progress. Savitri tells death. Life without death could not progress. And therefore death is playing a useful role. Even at the last moment when Savitri is defeating, is conquering death, she addresses him, "Stay a while, I still need you." She tells that. "Stay a while, I still need you." In fact, 147.16, she says, "I hail thee, Almighty and victorious death." She calls him victorious death. 142.93, "Life only was my blind attempt to love." In fact, previous sentence, "Now at last I know beyond all doubt," 142.92, the great stars burn with my unceasing fire, and life and death are both its well made. Of that fire, unceasing fire. That unceasing fire is fed by both life and death. Life only was my blind attempt to love, but it is death which has given me the possibility of seeing attempt. Now it was a blind attempt, but death has made it seeing. Earth saw my struggle, heaven my victory, all shall be seized, transcended. There shall kiss certain, casting their veils before the marriage fire, the eternal bridegroom and eternal bride. So she says, life only was my blind attempt, but because of death, it has become a seeing attempt, a fruitful attempt. And death, an instrument of perpetual life. See, this is a living reality, living experience. Therefore, the poet does not forget what he has written earlier, what he is going to write later on. And there is a kind of a. Although death walks beside us on life's road, see, this is what we got. Life only was my blind attempt. Although death walks beside us on life's road, a bystander at the body's start, and a last judgment on man's futile works, other the riddle of his ambiguous fate. Death is a stair, a door, a stumbling stride the soul must take to cross from birth to birth, a grey defeat pregnant with victory, a whip to lash us towards our deathless state. So we need this whip. We need this whip. That is how death helps. You see, there is a here darkness. Here, this line we are talking about this line, this sentence. Darkness, a magic of self-hidden light. Okay. Suffering, some secret rapture's mask. And death, an instrument of perpetual life. So we have got contrast here, darkness and light, suffering and rapture, death and life. Contrast. But in this line, although death walks beside us on life, this is death and this life. See, these are persons. The other are qualities. Darkness and light, suffering and rapture, death and life. In this contrast are qualities, are states, conditions. Whereas in this sentence, death walks beside us on life. So these are personifications of both life and death. And last judgment. Now again, last judgment. Well, although this is a Christian phrase, but it is not in that sense. And a last judgment on man's futile works. Other is the riddle of his ambiguous space. Other of life. Death is a stair, a door, a stumbling stride. The soul must take to cross from birth to birth. Must take. And that must is aided by death. Great defeat pregnant with victory. So although it is an apparent defeat, but actually it's a victory that we are going to make progress through death. A whip to lash us towards our deathless state. The inconscient world is the spirit's self-made room. Well, again, it is the same statement earlier we have seen. Inconscient world is the spirit. He has created. Spirit has created this world for a purpose. It's a kind of a room where he's going to do something. The spirit. Eternal night, shadow of eternal day. Night is not our beginning nor our end. But then still, we have to pass through night. It is a tunnel, and we have to go through the tunnel. Night is not our beginning nor our end. Our beginning was in the transcendent. Our end shall be the divine life. So, from the transcendent to the divine life, you have to pass through night. She, the dark mother, in his womb we have hid, safe from too swift waking to world pain. So you have to go through a slow process. She, night. We came to her from a supernal light. By light we live, and to the light we go. This is Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya. So Taittiriya Upanishad, actually the statement in the Taittiriya Upanishad is slightly different. From Ananda we come, and to Ananda we go. We come from Ananda, we go to Ananda. From the world of bliss we have come, we go to the world of bliss. That he has modified by saying, instead of Ananda, he is saying light. Because he is talking in the context of night. Night is not our beginning nor our end. By light we live, and to the light we go. So actually these three lines in between, one can skip. Yeah. Night is not our beginning nor our end. By light we live, and to the light we go. But then it looks a little abrupt, you see. But in thought content, they are to a certain extent superfluous. Here, in the seat of darkness, mute and lone, in the heart of everlasting nothingness, light conquered now, even by that feeble beam, his faint infiltration drilled the blind deaf man. Almost it changed into a glimmering sight that how the phantom of an aureate sun, a golden sun, his image, his phantom, his ghost, so to say, is what is housed by this darkness, whose orb pupil the eye of nothingness. So the eye of nothingness is this phantom sun. The pupil of this, his eye, of nothingness's eye. A golden fire came in and burned night's heart. Her dusky, her of course stands again for night. A golden fire came and burnt night's heart. Her dusky mindlessness began to dream. The conscious grew. Night felt and thought. Because of this golden fire coming here. Now, of course, this is on the occult level, the whole description. A golden fire came in and burnt night's heart. Her dusky mindlessness began to dream. The conscious grew because of that golden fire. Night felt and thought. Now, we could as well apply this thing in a certain sense to Savitri, who is doggedly following death. As we have seen, doggedly following death. Assailed in the sovereign emptiness of its reign, the intolerant darkness paled and drew apart till only a few blank remnants strained that ray. That ray is, of course, here in this context belongs to the golden fire. But that ray is Savitri. As we have seen earlier, in the second sentence, See that ineffectual beam, see all that, third sentence. An effectual beam suffering light through the despairing darkness dogged. Despairing darkness dogged. That suffering light, that ray, that Savitri, who is following, is now looking like a pallid ghost there of dead eternity. So it is that now, a golden fire, that is Savitri in the narrative. Came in and burned Night's heart. The fact that she has entered there, naturally, this is going to happen. Night's heart is going to burn. Her dusky, so her dusky, that is of course night. Mindless began to dream. So as I said, here you have simultaneously the legend and the symbol. In fact, it will be good if I can collect all the statements like that which apply to both simultaneously, as a legend as well as a symbol. This is one of the good instances, you see. Assailed in the sovereign emptiness of its reign, is inconscient. Assailed in the sovereign emptiness of its reign, the intolerant, it can be inconscient, but it can be darkness, which is going to follow. What does it say? It stands for, in the translation? In the translation, this it stands for,
Inconscient or darkness? Plural. There.
No, its reign, emptiness of its reign.
It's plural. There.
Why?
I don't know, that's why I was looking.
Assailed in the sovereign emptiness of its reign, the intolerant darkness.
That assailing is speaking about who is assailed here. Who is assailed here?
Intolerant darkness.
So it's singular. Here it is plural. Attaqué dans le verbe. So who is?
Because the darkness is plural.
Because he put intolerant darkness in plural.
Plural.
Darkness is plural in French.
No,
Written.
no, there is only one darkness.
It's questionable. No?
Yes. Because in French we don't say dark,
But darkness is less somber. What is it? Darkness? Lay? But why?
Because
Why darkness is lay?
Why is it plural?
Because in French we
Because
say
yes, we can say plural.
plural, latent.
It's one thing, but we call it latent.
But
It's one
we
thing.
can also say singular, nothing.
No, but it's a personification.
This is singular, capital D.
In English,
Yeah, it's capital personification.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when
It's a wrong translation in a way.
It's not wrong because latent in French it means one thing.
Yeah.
Like yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the immediate context, if you go only by this sentence, this it stands for darkness.
Yeah, it's for
Yeah. But it could also stand for inconscient. The inconscient. The intolerant darkness paled. In fact, darkness and inconscient, they are the same here. Till only a few black remnants stained that ray. That ray, again, as I said, belongs to Savitri, who is walking behind, who is walking through the darkness. But on a failing edge of dumb, lost space, still a great dragon body sullenly loomed, adversary with a slow, struggling dawn, defending its ground of tortured mystery. It trailed its coil through the dead, martyred air and curving flat down the grey slope of time. Impossible to Impossible. One can just keep on reading, you see.
Think too much about this.
Yeah. But on a failing edge of dumb lost, she's going deeper. Now, well, see what is happening until now, that darkness only stained the ray. The darkness only stained the ray. But now something more is happening, further down, you see. But on a failing edge of dumb, lost space, so you are going into the deeper and deeper levels of darkness, in the abyss. Still, a great dragon body suddenly loomed. Still, great dragon body suddenly loomed. So she is going deeper and deeper and deeper. And what does she see? A dragon body. It is more fierce than the darkness. Adversary, what is the dragon body? She is the adversary of the slow struggling dawn. She will not allow the dawn to come up. The dawn is struggling to appear in the darkness, in the night. She will not allow the dawn to come up. Adversary of the slow struggling dawn, defending its ground of tortured mystery. Yes, it will hold on, the dragon, its own ground only. It trailed its coils, the dragon coils, through the dead martyred air. Martyred air, because she has entered there, she has become a martyr. And curving, fled down the grey slope of time. She is further down line. See. Dragon body, yeah. We have here something which Shivandu has written in Record of Yoga. Yeah. In January 1927. He is talking about himself in January. The attack of obscurity, resistance of the universal inconscience, refusal of the universal inertia, obstruction and conservatism of the material negation are beginning to lessen, and even where they persist, intervene, cannot resist the progress. Even if they persist, they intervene, they cannot stop progress. The past effects may still continue for a time. This is from the Record of Yoga. Thursday, 27 January 1927. Cannot persist. The past effects may still continue for a time. The future is not theirs. Theirs means stands for here. The inertia, the obscurity, the inconscience, all that thing, the future is not theirs. The four powers that resisted now appear more clearly. What are the four powers that resist? The dragon of the Nether foundation. The dragon of the Nether foundation. What does she do? Who preserves the old law intact till the will of the Supreme is manifested. So, the dragon of the Nether foundation who perseveres the old law. She keeps on insisting that old law should go on till the will of the Supreme is manifested. This is something most wonderful. So, although she is so fierce, so negative, so hostile, yet she is playing a very positive role. You cannot have nonsense here. What you have to have here is only the will of the Supreme in manifestation. Until then, sorry, get out from here. So she is really playing a very positive role. Yes.
Preserve the law intact.
At
Yeah.
least it's time bound.
Yeah. So that is the dragon. The dragon of the nether foundations who perseveres the old law intact till the will of the Supreme is manifested. The Sphinx of the eternal questioning. Who are you? Why you have come here? Well, that is the famous riddle of the Sphinx, you see. And the moment you answer correctly, then she will vanish. She will kill herself. She will destroy herself. Until then, she will keep on following you. The Sphinx of the eternal questioning. The night of the eternal negation. So that is what night is. Negation. No, 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 divine cannot be here, divine cannot be here, divine cannot be here. You are dreaming, you are living in a world of Maya, you are living in a world of mental ideas which have no value. The rock. What is rock? Stone Purusha. And who is Stone Purusha? Shiva himself. Inert Shiva. This rock is means matter, solid. He is Shiva himself, but inert, not active, not dancing. You see. Or the eternal inertia, still they are there, but a first victory has been assured against them. The first victory has been assured against them. This is the.
It was a little after the 26th
Pardon me?
November.
Yeah, after, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is what I was coming to say. Yeah,
24 November.
exactly. Basically, see, first victory. What is the first victory? Over mind in matter. Not as a general influence, but in matter. That is the Siddhi of Sri Aurobindo on 24th November 1926. 1926 November, 27 January. So that is the first victory has already been made. So actually, it is from this date onward, 27 January 1927 till 5th December 1950, all the work was concerned in dealing with these four entities. The physical. So in that sense, this is an extremely significant noting in the record of yoga. In terms of biographical material, this is the crux of the whole spiritual attainment of Sri Aurobindo until 1927. And people talk, this is all fiction. The lives of Sri Aurobindo, terrible. What I had to do with this? He doesn't talk of sex, he doesn't talk of drinking, he doesn't talk of friends. He's talking about these things, you see. That is what the life divine, sorry, that is what the lives of Sri Aurobindo tells us, you see. So these are the things, dragon, sphinx, night, and rock. The entire concentration of Sri Aurobindo's yoga tapasya from this point onward was towards this.
So the dragon is the god of the nation.
Dragon who gave the foundation of the old law of the past.
This is Falsehood.
Huh?
Dragon, falsehood.
She gave the old law intact of the past.
Yes. Then the Sphinx is what?
She keeps on questioning.
Suffering?
There is no suffering. Sphinx keeps on questioning. What are you talking about? What are you like that?
Consciousness, inconscious?
Everything. She's questioning. Questioning. What are you up to? Like that. Sphinx will question every spiritual attempt. Yeah. Can matter be really divinized? Can there be life divine here? These are the questions we'll keep on asking all the while. Can there be light when there is so much of darkness? Can there be joy, bliss, happiness in the midst of all suffering? She'll keep on questioning all these things. Questioning, Sphinx.
Connected to doubts at the same
Yeah.
time. Question and doubt.
So each one has a separate role. Dragon preserves the old law, the past law. And what does it say? Actually, basically, what are these four powers doing? They are guarding the original void. These four powers are sitting there and they will not allow you to enter into the void, the original void, unless you take care of them. And when you have taken care of them, then the real reality of the void will be revealed to you. What that void is. Until then, that reality is kept away from the seeker by these powers. Savitri enters into that real void after smashing death.
Oh, where all the possibilities are sleeping.
So the whole thing is zero,
Conscious,
void.
yes.
There is not, but behind that consciousness, behind that zero, who is sitting? The Supreme Himself.
It has to be enlightened and then you can
Yeah.
go into
Yeah.
for eternal
Yeah.
focus. That's
Yeah. So that reality is there in zero. But that will be revealed only when these four are taken out. The eternal. So basically, in fact, this is my statement. But that void is tough void. Well, let us read what I written here. This has to be so, and there is absolutely no other sense in the wonderful evolutionary creation. True, at the moment, this wonderful evolutionary creation is stuck in a morbid grooves of mortality. But then that mortality too is there with a purpose. Perhaps there is a kind of intention behind that mortality, that purpose stuck. It is as if the deeper you dig, the greater and more precious is going to be the gain. Dig deep enough, and at the bottom of the void, you will discover that it is the Supreme Himself who is present there. But until then, you have to take care of these four great powers, you see. Until then, you have to take care of them. So actually,
The first victory he is speaking about it is the 24th of November.
pardon me?
He said, okay, the last, but the first victory has been assured.
But first, that is the realization of 24th November.
24 November.
November, first realization. Yeah. Actually, Sri Aurobindo, so to say, real avataric mission begins with this. Begins with this.
This is the sense of the mind, intuition.
Yeah. But you see, this is he's talking now. He is not writing philosophy. He is not writing philosophy here. He says the attack of obscurity, resistance of the universal inconscious in him. He's talking of himself. Attack of obscurity, resistance of inconscience, the refusal of inertia, the obstruction and conversion of mental negation. So all the four qualities of dragon, of sphinx, of night, and of the rock, they're already here. They are as his spiritual experiences which had to be taken forward. So, yes.
Are beginning to listen.
Pardon?
Are beginning to listen.
Yes.
He's beginning to listen. It's like
It
becoming
doesn't,
weaker.
it doesn't say,
Becoming weaker.
yeah, it's decreasing a little bit.
Something.
See, he is not now writing metaphysics, he is not writing philosophy, he is not writing an essay. He is recording his experience here.
It's amazing that even the divine has this much problems to slay the dragon. Isn't it?
Yeah, but see, what I'm saying is this is an extremely crucial stage in the authoric mission of work of Sri Aurobindo from this point onward. The whole thing changed completely. And see, this is in 27. By 1938, another 11 years, the supramental started appearing in his physical. In his physical.
1914, no?
38.
Or 58.
First time, it was coming and going, coming and going. 1938 or 36, I will check. 36. In another 10 years, let's put this, in another 10 years, the supermind was coming and going, coming and, yeah, sorry, it is 38. The mind of, sorry, his sonnet, sonnet, light, it was coming and going, coming and going. You see.
And this is the end of the record. The record of yoga ends.
Because of this. So he realized what is the problem. In other words, he is now actually entering into the pure void, dismissing all these people. Let me see what is there in the void, and is the Supreme Himself. When that is done, then the supermind starts coming and living in the physical. So in 1930, after 10 years of this one, it was coming and going. And Mother said that I saw the supermind coming and going. What was not happening was, it was not remaining permanently there in the physical at that time. So another 12 years to establish it permanently.
But first he reached it in 1914, is it?
What?
Aurobindo, the supermind.
See, this is in the physical.
Oh, yeah, that's coming down.
Huh.
When he went up,
Yeah.
that was 1914.
Yeah. See, he knew supermind even in 1908 in the jail.
He knew it.
Yes, of course.
So when did he reach it?
He knew in jail itself. In Alipur jail, he was shown a star, golden star, by Vivekananda. Golden star. So, see, the ascent to supermind is there right in the beginning itself. He knew it. Without that knowing, he cannot write the Arya.
Did he reach it?
He knew, what that knowledge is, that what supermind is, what Satchidananda is, he has that knowledge already now. But what is the use of knowledge unless it comes and does something here in this creation? So his sadhana is that. His yogic work, his avataric work is that, to make that thing active in the world here, in the physical.
But he reached it when? He himself.
He knew that thing in 1908 itself, supermind. He had the full knowledge of it.
So 1908.
Yeah. Maybe around August 1908, within a few months.
In jail.
Huh?
In jail.
In jail, in Alipur jail.
So you can say in Alipur jail he had that.
Yes, of course. The fact that he is talking of Krishna everywhere, Vasudeva, Vasudeva, Vasudeva. What is that Vasudeva? It is the Supreme God Himself everywhere.
At the level between the mind and supermind is covered afterward.
Mind, etc., much earlier, all that. Mind became silent and then it suddenly jumped to supermind.
Exactly.
how did he do that? Because
He didn't do it, it happened. He opened himself out fully.
but he has to go through all the levels over mind.
Yeah, but that is the knowledge of details is one thing, and the knowledge of it is another thing. The knowledge of details is one thing, and the knowledge of it is another thing.
So he has the knowledge of it.
Yeah. See, he had two very major experiences in 1908. January, around 1st January 1908, he had the experience of silent mind. What he got in Baroda. Passive Brahman. That he got in Baroda. Within 3 days, he got that experience. His mind became absolutely silent. And immediately after that, in another 6 months, in the jail, he has this Vasudeva experience of the dynamic Brahman. So he has got both the experiences of active Brahman and dynamic Brahman within few months. That became the foundation of all his spiritual sadhana afterwards.
And he wrote somewhere that the plane, knowledge of the plane between.
Yeah, see that went on. Yeah, so that is a matter of details. That is a matter of details. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. The dragon, sullen, great dragon body, sullenly looked. See, this was experienced in 1927.
He knows that.
Yes, yeah. And see the adversary of the great struggling dawn. He is waiting for the supermind to enter into the physical. That is the struggling dawn. That is the struggling dawn. Adversary, the slow struggling dawn, defending, etc.